My name is Katie and welcome back to my channel. Sorry it's been a long time since I've last uploaded, or I guess really filmed a video. The last time I filmed a video was I think back in January, maybe even December 2020, January 2021. As you can tell from the background, I have new shelves. These are the Billy bookshelves from IKEA. I got them for a Christmas present. Absolutely love them. I'll do a bookshelf tour when I get a chance. Started a new job. I work nights now, so it's been a little bit hard to film. We had to put my one dog down, got another dog, and he's a puppy, so that's been taking up all my attention, but he is the cutest. If I remember, I'll insert a photo here or something. So it's been a while since I've actually sat down and filmed, had the time to actually sit down and film, but it's currently 1 in the morning and now I actually have time, so yay! But anyway, in this video I am going over the books that I am reading for September in accordance to Becca's Bookopoly and G's magical readathon. I hope to read all of the books for Becca's Bookopoly, however a lot of them will correlate to the magical readathon. I did pick books out for all the prompts for the magical readathon. I don't believe I will actually get to reading all of them. However, for the magical readathon you only need 2 prompts, and since I have a lot that actually correlate with the Bookopoly-a-thon, if I don't read all of them it's fine as long as I read 2. And currently, as of today, I already finished 1 prompt for Becca's Bookopoly, I'll get to that later, and it does correlate to the magical readathon, so I'm doing pretty well, so go me! So, without further ado, let me get into the rolls that I did. So, okay, so for the first roll, I got a 5 and 4, which was a 9, and I landed on the prompt Monsters, which is a book with monsters. So for this one, I plan on reading Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. I've read this book before, but it was years and years ago. When I originally got my first Kindle, I got it on my Kindle book, but I got the entire series in paperback because I absolutely loved the first 3. I've only read the first 3 books. However, with the announcement of the TV show coming out, this is obviously the movie cover because it was a movie. The movie flopped. The second one was never made. With the announcement of the series coming out, I decided to, you know what, let's start rereading them now because there's 6 books and then a 6-book spin-off to it, which I've never actually read. So I'm very excited to read this one. So yeah, this will be a reread. This book also correlates to the magical readathon for the Aurelium Academy. I'm definitely pronouncing it wrong, which is a book with a school setting, and obviously Vampire Academy takes place in a school, so that will hopefully work. I then rolled a 5 and 1, which is 6, and landed on the prompt Colors, which is a book with a color in the title. So it was actually kind of hard to find a book that'll go with this prompt because a lot of the, as I mentioned, the Vampire Academy, it has a second spin-off series. Those actually have, the first one actually has a color in the title, but I can't read that because I have to read it. I haven't read Vampire Academies in a while, and I don't know how it correlates. So instead, I'm going to reread Red Queen because red is a color. So this is a reread. I actually finished the first 3 books, got halfway through the last book, and then for some reason stopped. This is a solid 4-star read to me. Absolutely love it. Basically, some people have red blood, some people have silver blood. Those with silver blood have special powers. Those with red bloods are basically just normal people, and our main character Mare meets Cal, who is the prince of the country or whatever it is, and goes to a trial and accidentally finds out that she has powers when she has red blood, so she's not supposed to. So basically it just follows Mare and learning her abilities while keeping it a secret by pretending to be a silver blood within the royal family and stuff. I haven't read this in a while. I do plan on reading it through audio, I believe, on my commute because I do have a long commute, so I won't be reading this physically, but I will be listening to it in the car. I then rolled 2 3s, so a double, so I had to add an extra prompt, but for this one, a 6, I landed on Cute, which is a book that is cute. So for this one, I'm planning on reading Sex and Vanity by Kwan. This is the author of Crazy Rich Asians, which I absolutely loved the trilogy. One of the better trilogies in my opinion. And absolutely love the first movie, and I'm hoping that the second movie is still a thing. I don't know. I really don't know too much about this. Basically, Lucy hates George the minute she sets eyes on him at a wedding in Capri. She is the daughter of an American-born Chinese mother and a blue-blooded New York father. She has always sublimated her Asian side, and she adamantly denies having feelings for George. But several years later, when George unexpectedly appears in her life, she finds herself drawn to him. Soon, Lucy is spinning a web of deceit that involves her family, her fiancé, the co-op board of her Fifth Avenue apartment building, and ultimately herself as she tries to deny George entry into her world and her heart. So this sounds like a cute, summery, easy read. I know it's September, but it's pretty short. It's only about a little over 300 pages, but it does sound cute, so for this prompt, works perfectly. I then rolled a 5 and 3, which is an 8, and for that I landed on last letter, first letter, which means the last letter of the title has to match the first letter of the title. So I'm planning on reading The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I'm pronouncing it wrong, but the last letter T is the same as the first letter T. Again, I have no idea what this is about. This was the book of the month pick for January of 19. My cousin and I both have a subscription to Book of the Month. We'll both pick separate books, and for one of the months, I don't think we wanted any of the books, or I wanted one and she didn't, I believe, because this is her book. She ended up doing like the here's what others loved instead option, and got this one. So I really don't know what this is really about. I've heard mixed things, but my cousin did love it. I don't know if I'm gonna go into this blind or if I'm gonna read the synopsis quickly. I don't know, but it was the only one that I could find pretty quickly that the letters matched, so that went on the TBR. The next roll I got was 5 and 6, which is 11, and for this one I landed on randomized TBR, and so for this one I just picked a bunch of books, asked Alexa to pick a number between them, and for this prompt I got Much Ado About You by Samantha Young. I picked this up in Barnes & Noble a few months ago. Seemed kind of cute because there's a dog on the cover, and I love dogs. So I kind of just picked it up on a whim. Basically, the main character, Evangeline, moves to like an English village and works at like a bookstore beneath the rental apartment she's living in. And then she runs into Ronan Robson, who is a farmer. So it's going to be a cute little love story between them. And I'm hoping the dog has a lot of cameos in this because it's kind of why I picked it up, not gonna lie. I've never read her other book, which is Fight or Flight, so this is kind of my first time reading her, but hopefully it's good. The next roll that I got was 6 and 1, which was 7, and for this I landed on chance. So I put 3 books on the top of my TBR and 3 books on the bottom of my TBR. Had, you know, Who, random number generator again, and for this one I don't have the book on me, I'm actually loaning it to a friend, so I'm listening to it on audio through my library. It's the second, like, crazy stupid bromance book by Lisa K. Adams or something. I'll put the picture up here. Basically it follows, I forgot who it follows, but it's like the businessman and the girl from the first book's sister, who's like the chef, and it follows that story. But I'm very excited. I already started listening to it. So far it's pretty good, but I plan on listening to that first and then Red Queen next. So hopefully I get through that pretty quickly because I did read the first book in a single night. So I'm hoping that the second book is kind of like that too. My next roll was in a 3 and a 1, which is a 4, and I landed on the prompt Hyped, which is a book everyone's hyped about. So for this prompt I read, because I actually already finished it, From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I loaned this book to my friend. She devoured it, has been begging me to read it. She already read all 3 books that are out. She's been begging me to read it, so I've been slowly reading it. And I'm happy to say that I finished it last night and absolutely loved it. I gave it 4.5 stars just because it was a little bit slow in the beginning. But I understand the hype, okay? I understand the hype. It's very hard to explain this book, but basically Poppy is the maiden and she just is kind of like protected at all costs. She has to stay pure, she can't talk to anyone, she has to wear a veil, always wear white, is guarded 24/7, and then she ends up getting like a new personal guard, Hawk, who just basically like takes her breath away, and a lot of shenanigans happens, and the ending had me basically almost screaming, but I couldn't because it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then the ending I was like, whoa. So yeah, this definitely is hyped, and I recommend you read. This also correlates to our prompt for the Magical Readathon for the Ash Turn Tree, which is a book that keeps tempting you, and it did tempt me because obviously everyone's reading it. It was very hyped, and my friend read it. She kept tempting me to read it. So finally, when I finished my other book, I was like, okay, we're reading this. So yes, I finished this prompt, so we're golden right now. So the last roll that I did, I got a 6 and 3, and for this I landed on Becca's Wreck, which is a book recommended by Becca. So for this, I'm going to read Without Merit by Colleen Hoover. I read the bunch of Colleen Hoover books, but I have not read this one yet. And I believe Becca is reading Colleen Hoover and likes her. So I figured that this would be a book recommended by Becca because she's read Colleen Hoover. So I really don't know what this one's about. Colleen Hoover is kind of like a hit or miss with me. I'll love her books or they're okay. There are certain things that I don't like, but other than that, she's a solid, I would say a solid 4-star author. So everyone's been reading this, so I thought, let's give it a shot. Again, have no idea what this is about, but I'm excited to read it. This also correlates to a prompt on the Magical Readathon, which is Tower of Rumination, which is a 5-star prediction. Because it's so talked about on Book Talk, I believe my cousin read this one as well, and she gave it 5 stars, so I'm predicting that I'm going to give it 5 stars, so hopefully I do. So that was all for Becca's Bookopoly's rolls. The remaining books are books that I don't see myself reading, but I would like to, that correlates to the rest of the Magical Readathon prompts. So for the first prompt of the Novice Path, it is to read a book that has a map, and for this I want to read Crooked Kingdom. I'm already a little bit of the way through. I'm on page 98, and it actually has 2 maps, so I'll show you this one and then this one. So it obviously has maps, which will fulfill the prompt. I read the first one, 6 of Crows. So originally I read the original trilogy, Shadow and Bone, to watch the Netflix series, and then I read 6 of Crows, and I liked it. I didn't love it. I believe I gave it 3.5 because it was good, but I think it was just too slow for me. And I've kind of been slacking on Crooked Kingdom. I haven't picked it up in a few months, so I go, you know what, let's try and read it this month or even next month. Hopefully I can get through and read it because it's like everyone loves this duology, and I feel like because I didn't love the first one, I'm not going to love the second one, so it's been taking me a while to read it, but hopefully I'll get through. And I heard this actually breaks your heart more, and that a lot of people actually like this second book more than the first book. So I'm giving it a shot. I'm not giving up yet, but I have high hopes, so hopefully I will read this and go from there. Next prompt of The Mist of Solitude, it is to read a standalone, and for this I want to read The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. She is the author of The Guest List, I believe, and I think I gave that 3.5 as well. I believe I got this at Barnes & Noble. It was kind of just there, and I go, the cover's cool, and then when I read the back, it's a New Year's reunion in the remote Scottish wilderness. The beautiful one, the golden couple, the volatile one, the new parents, the quiet one, the city boy, the outsider. One of these friends is a murderer, and one won't make it out alive. So that kind of intrigued me, and I go, let me give her another shot. This one sounds more up my alley than The Guest List, so hopefully I like it. And I believe it's a standalone, because honestly I haven't really heard much about this book. I've never actually heard of it. The only reason I picked it up was because of the title and the author, but I haven't actually heard anything about it. So I'm excited to give it a shot and read it. The next prompt is Ruin of the Sky, and for this it is to read a book featuring ghosts, supernatural, haunted house type, just I feel like a spooky book. So with this I want to read Lock Every Door, Riley Sager. This is my cousin's book. I took a few books from her. She absolutely loved it. I haven't read a Riley Sager book before, but I do have a couple of them. I believe I have Home Before Dark. I have Home Before Dark. I got it from Book of the Month when one of the months I wasn't a fan of any of the books. So this will be my first one from him, and I heard great things from him. I've heard bad things from him, but I wanted something spooky for September and October to get into fall. So I took this book from her in hopes of reading it, and it actually works perfectly for the prompt because it's spooky. I don't know how it's spooky, but it's spooky. So I plan on reading this, and I hope to like it. The last prompt for this readathon is Obsidian Falls, and that's to read a mystery thriller. And for this, I want to reread The Inheritance Games because the second book is actually coming out either in September or October. I currently have it pre-ordered, and I believe it just became a trilogy. I think it was gonna originally be a duology, but because of the hype it's got, I think it was extended to a trilogy, but don't quote me, but it is now a trilogy. I definitely enjoyed this book. However, I gave it 3.5 because I ended up guessing the twist at the end pretty early in the book. But I do have this on audio, so once I finish the other two books on audio, I plan to pick this up via audio because that is how I think I primarily read it. I kind of switched back and forth of audio and reading it physically, but I do recommend the audio. I picked it up at Target, but I'm excited to reread it and get back into the, I call it like a fancy house, like the house that always has rooms because the grandfather is like this rich billionaire and leaves all of his money to, what's her name? It was $46.2 billion. The grandfather, Tobias Hawthorne, left to Avery. And she's never met this man before in her life and left nothing to his family, basically. And it was like, you have to like solve riddles and different stuff like that. So, thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to the second book. Finally, I originally was going to try and fit this into one of the TBR prompts or something, but it didn't end up working out. However, I do plan on reading A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire because I did finish From Blood and Ash, and the ending kind of has me like, I need more. So I do want to actually pick this up, but I want to try and prioritize the other books first before reading this one. However, that probably won't happen, and I'll probably finish this before I pick up any of the other books, because that's how life goes. So, very excited to continue on with this. I will be buying the third book ASAP. So yeah, I will be reading this, even though it does not go on any of the prompts. Actually, does it have a map? Oof, T. It has a map. It could work for The Novice Path, which is a book with a map. So, if I don't feel like reading Crooked Kingdom, even though I really, really should, so I can finish it, so I can move on to the next duology, like the Nikolai duology, at least it'll fit with the prompt. I love when things work out for me. So, that's that. Those are the books I plan on reading in September. Hopefully, I haven't been reading much. Honestly, I'm very behind on my 50 book goal for the month, but I'm hoping that if I stick to the audio to my commute to and from work, and I try and read as much as I can on my off days and when I have time, that I will get through it, because some of them are chunky, but some of them are not chunky. So, I feel like it's doable, but I guess we'll find out later when I do a wrap up, hopefully. But hopefully you like the new setup, hopefully the lighting is good, because again, it is currently 1 in the morning, and I hope you liked the video. Give it a like, subscribe, comment down below which book that you want to read first, if any, and what you thought, and hopefully I will see you again soon with another video. Bye!